This is part 2 of the Endless Runner tutorial, and we're going to go ahead and dive right in to creating events. So it looks like this very first event that they want us to make is to make the player be able to jump when we press the up arrow. We could make that be another key if you wanted to make it W or something like that. You could do that as well, but we're going to follow the tutorial as is. Okay, so in GDevelop, we need to, just going to zoom in here a little bit. Okay, so we need to go to the Events tab, and we need to come up here, and this third button here adds a new event sheet. And so we have conditions on the left here, and we have actions on the right. I'm going to click on Add Condition, and I'm going to go ahead and type in key. Whoops. And we want the one here called key pressed. And again, we're going to do up arrow. And that's just up. Okay, and press OK. Okay, so the action that we're going to do now is we're going to have the player actually jump. And so you can see here in bold, and this is the part where you might find some differences because these tutorials were written a little while ago and GDevelop has developed. You will see that some of the wording and some of the terminology will be different. Okay, so let's go look for it. So I'm going to click on Add an Action, and we're going to do the category called Platform Behavior. It's saying controls, and we want to simulate the jump key press, and the object is going to be the player. And right here you can see the behavior says platform object. So that should work for us. So we'll say OK. We'll save, and we'll test our game. Okay, and there you go. So we're now getting the jump action by pressing the up arrow, and that's working just fine. Okay, so now we want the player to actually do the animation, the jump animation, while it is doing that. So we're going to add a second action. So this one condition will do 2 actions. So we'll choose that. And this time I'm going to actually search. So I'm going to use the word animation. And I'll just search animation. And a lot of people get fooled by using this one here called change the animation, but you want change the animation by name, so don't get fooled by that. And I'm going to choose the player, and the one I want, and you have to use quotes, is going to be jump. It is case sensitive, so if you use the capital J, make sure that you do that as well. Or if you use lowercase, make sure you do that as well. Okay, and we'll go ahead and test this, and there we go. So now you can see that he's doing it, but he's not returning back to the idle pose when he hits the ground. So I think we're going to be doing that soon. Okay, and last but not least is they're saying that we should probably go ahead and comment our section. So I'm going to click on this 5th button right here, and that adds in this yellow bar. And comments are a fantastic way to just visually break up your code, but also remind you what a section does. So I'm going to comment this as jump action and animation. And there we go. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start to make the platforms move. That's when this gets more interesting. I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to change this action here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the conditions, sorry. And instead of the up arrow key, I'm just going to do, I'm going to do the space bar. The space bar is a much more natural way to jump for me. Okay, so we're going to create, it looks like we're going to create no condition, and then we're just going to create an action, and you can see it says add a force to the object. So let's create a new event, action, and we'll go ahead and search for force. Okay, so I typed in force here, and right here, add a force, and we're going to choose it to the platform, and we're going to put in these numbers here, 180 and 250 for the speed. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like we have add a force and we have add a force with an angle. And so they're slightly different from each other, but you can see here in the screenshot, that's why screenshots are great, that we do have a line here for angle and a value here for speed. So it actually needs to be this one here, add a force with an angle. So that's sometimes confusing when they have multiple actions that are similar. Okay, so the angle is going to be 180 and the speed is going to be 250, it looks like. Okay, good. All right, so I'll hit OK and we'll now see what we get here. Okay, so it's moving along pretty fast. Maybe I'll slow that down a little bit. Plus you can see that he gets carried along and slides with it. So they're going to take that care of that next. Okay, so to tackle the sliding issue, we're going to make a new event. And the condition is going to be when the player is on the floor. Here we go, is on floor, and it's the player. Okay, so now to have the player actually not slide like this, we're going to take this same action here and copy it. So I'll show you a nice little way of doing that. You can simply right mouse click and choose copy. And then when you come down here to add action, you'll see it says or paste actions. And so there you go, like that. Okay, and then we'll double click it. And this time it's going to be, get rid of that, it's going to be the player. The angle is going to be 0. And I believe the speed is 250 as well. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we'll save and we'll test that. Okay, so your character isn't actually moving forward at all. He's just sort of going like that. So again, I'll probably slow down the speed of that, maybe to 220 or something like that, but we'll tweak that later. Okay, so next we have a condition here that says that's checking to see when the player is on the floor. We're going to add a second action to that. So we're going to say add action, and we're going to search for animation, and we're going to do change the animation by name for the player. Make sure you put it in quotes, and this time we're going to have him do his little run animation. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and change the speed of that animation because it's just way too slow for me. That's a little fast. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to make the game endless, as you can see right up here. Okay, so we need to click on our very last platform and find its X position. So go back to our scene editor, and I'll just pan over here and select it. And you can see that mine is at 1216. Again, yours might be at a different one. Yeah, we'll go ahead and leave it like that. Okay, 1216. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the events. Okay, and so we need to create a new event, add the condition, and we want to compare the X position of an object. So this one right here, and it's going to be of the platform. and they want it to be less than or equal to, and they're suggesting negative 200. Okay, so less or equal to negative 200. I'm not sure why in this version it's strange why they're doing these numbers here, U2264, but it says less than or equal to, so I'm just going to go with that. Hopefully that'll work. Okay, moving on down. Okay, so now we're going to add our action, and here we are here. I like that they bold this stuff, the most important stuff. Okay, so we're looking for a block called change the X position of an object. So add action, change Okay, so here's one of those instances that I told you about where the tutorial is different. So the tutorial says to look for a block called change the X position of an object. And so if I go ahead and type and search the word change, I did not find it at all. But then when I typed in the word position, you can see right here, it says X position of an object. So they did change the wording of it. Okay, so it's going to be platform, and this is where I'm going to type in the number that I had, which for me was 1216. Okay, so yours is going to be different, and then the operator is going to be equals, or set to. There we go. That should do it. Okay, so now what we basically did was we're basically creating a loop for the platforms. So as soon as our character hits this last platform here, it's going to basically create another duplicate of itself and teleport itself over here, thus creating an endless loop. Yep, so there we go. So the platforms definitely could be redesigned, make it a little more fun, a little more challenging. And I think I definitely need to change the speed a little bit. You know, maybe add in some more platforms, some more variety, be able to go higher up or lower down. But yeah, it works. Okay. Okay, so we are now coming to a very different section where we're going to introduce a concept called game states. And then that should take us towards the end. Let's see. Yeah, there's still quite a bit here. But I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here, and then I'll make a part 3 for game states. So I will see you in the next video.